thank you for having me. A couple other speakers as well, so I don't imagine I have a lot of time, so cut me off whenever you'd like.
You've got all the time you want.
I don't have any problem talking about Wild Ride. So, but yeah, thank you for the invitation today. Yeah, we're excited for this weekend. Which as we do with all events, we're watching the forecast pretty closely, and it's not maybe as super as we thought it might be, but we've had worse. The Oktoberfest event, this is our longest standing event that we've done in the community. We're just a little over 8 years old, and so I remember it like it was 15 years ago, or like yesterday, that we started planning the first Oktoberfest. So it's something we're excited about. Feels, knock on wood, fairly seamless on some things at this point, but we're also having a little Oktoberfest event in Prineville at our new location tomorrow, so whoever did that planning, kind of me, but should have thought about that a little bit harder. Yeah, just a little one page about us that we did. I thought I'd chat a little bit. I know most of you from the time of us being in business, certainly our partnership and the Oktoberfest event that we've had now for 8 years. One of the things that when we wanted to open up a brewery and tap room in Redmond was to bring something to the community that we felt was maybe a bit of a void. A lot of aspects of, hey, you don't have to go to Bend, now there's another reason to stay in Redmond. Well, one of those is to do an event like Oktoberfest and to give the community something to, hey, we're gonna stay home, we're gonna have some fun here in Redmond and be part of the downtown community, have that free, family-friendly aspect of it, but also get a chance to raise money, which we're certainly believers of. Giving back, which is highlighted on the page that we passed around, it's just a big part of who we are. Wild Ride wouldn't be what it is today if we didn't have all of our community's support, and we recognize that. And so it's certainly a big part of our business. To whatever we do, we're gonna give back however we can. So working with you guys, which obviously is an organization that gives back to the community, working with Rotary, how we do, and other certainly organizations, charities, beneficiaries, something we're proud to do. We support the 4-H community quite a bit. It's been a while since we haven't had a Ales for ALS beer on one of our chalkboards, to where we're selling beer and donating proceeds back to fight ALS. I'm going to say that's probably our biggest benefactor over the years. We've been doing it for a long time, but close to $40,000 that we've raised to give back. As a whole, we're a little bit over $200,000 in just over 8 years of giving back to charities, and most of those come from the family-friendly free events that we host, and it's something that we're proud of. But we also know that we can't do it all without good partnerships like we have with you guys and the relationships that have been formed. So yeah, that's what I thought I'd highlight today in our talk. Certainly open to questions.
The ALS one, is that still worth Jennifer A. out of Denver?
Yeah, so it started with the Brenna A. It was an amber lager, and after about 3.5 years of brewing that beer, it was time for a change. That's when we brought in the Jennifer A., which is another fishing vessel. And we just released this week the Eleanor J., which is their third fishing vessel.
So you have 3 different types of beers with that?
Yeah, they're all part of the same program, to where we're donating a portion of proceeds of beer sales back to Ales for it's ALS TDI back in Boston that we contribute to. So right now it's just Eleanor J. IPA on tap, not the others, but the others will come back.
Does he come down very much?
It's been, it was probably before the pandemic started.
Yeah.
We did a ALS bingo night where not only Sean but Jenny came down, and it's always fun to see them, and they're certainly supportive of our efforts, and we're using their names and whatnot, so it's another good partnership. Yeah.
What's the story there with the ALS connection?
There's got to be a short version. A number of years ago, if you're familiar with Deadliest Catch at all, on the TV show, there's a boat captain, Sean Dwyer, that runs the Prineville fishing vessel. And Sean's father, Pat, passed away from ALS. And we had kind of a connection to the Dwyer family, and they were interested in essentially partnering on a beer that can be a beer to raise money, which we try to do often, not just for ALS, but for other things and whatnot. So yeah, we got to know the family really well, and they came down and were part of brew days and whatnot. We've done events, and so we've now kind of rotated through 3 different beers doing it. You know, ALS is kind of, you know, it's a terrible disease, and to know the passion that those guys put towards raising money for it is pretty impressive. Jenny Dwyer, Pat's wife, she's on the board of ALS TDI, and so it's become a special deal to us, and you know, but really all of them are, you know, and you're able to raise money for good causes. So
I did see him in an interview with a Wild Ride shirt on.
yeah, right. Yeah, that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Unexpected.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
Hey,
I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to thank you for your investment in Redmond. You know, here on Fifth Street, we had Copeland Lumber forever.
Yep.
And you took the worst part of it, the storage lumber building, plumby block building in a parking lot.
Yeah.
And you turned it into something really good that people come to Redmond for. And it's really, in my mind, the highlight on Fifth Street.
Well, yeah, thank you. I mean, yeah, I appreciate you saying that. As many of you know, I grew up here. I'm very familiar with, yeah, Copeland and then Parr, and you know, for us it was like, hey, this is probably a bigger facility than we need, which is no longer the case. But it had concrete floors and tall ceilings, and kind of allowed us to do what we needed to do with our vision, and it's certainly evolved over 8 years. Our patio's expanded. I think we're always going to look to make improvements where we can, but we have a great team, and we've had a ton of help along the way, which allows it to make it happen. And so, yeah, I appreciate the recognition for it, but it's something that, like I said, we're happy to be here. We take pride in it, and we'll continue to do what we can to make downtown Redmond especially a good place to both visually and otherwise. So.
And it's a great business model. I mean, you don't have to deal with the food, you let other people
Yeah.
deal with that. And people drive by, they see a party, and they want to stop and stay there.
Yeah, the day we have food in-house will be the day I'm not part of Wild Ride. So, I have a ton of respect for people who run a restaurant successfully, and I can't imagine it, frankly. But it's not me. Our business is beer. I do a lot of the quality control of that. So, yeah. Yeah.
What's your plans? What's next? The Prineville, right?
Prineville.
Yeah,
Where else?
thank you. Yeah, trying to breathe a little bit after Prineville. We've been open 3.5 months. We're starting to do events there. That same thing. In fact, Noah introduced us to contacted the Prineville Kiwanis, who we've become partners with on this event that we're having in Prineville tomorrow. What we thought was just going to be we're going to have a band play and release an Oktoberfest beer and maybe a couple games. It's turned into a dunk tank and the bouncy castle and face painting, and now I'm fully prepared to have back-to-back Oktoberfest, which is great. But that was our intention going into Prineville, is to be involved in the community the same way we've done it in Redmond. It's been an adjustment for a few of us that go back and forth, and certainly not complaining. It's just a lot. So future plans. There's another side of our business that's the distribution side, where we distribute to four states and work with 10 different distributors, and that oftentimes gets lost in the local stuff because we're so involved in the tap room and these types of events. But that's getting a lot of our attention. I was even asked today about a third Wild Ride location, which I'm not sure I answered it, but I don't know. We're going to keep doing what we do the best we can. That's our commitment to ourselves, and where we see there being opportunities, whether in taproom, further expansions, probably be outside of Central Oregon, further distribution expansion. But we're going to keep having fun and taking a lot of pride in what we do and do it to the best of our abilities. So, yeah.
I was wondering, you have a master brewer. Are you that?
I am not.
Gotta tell us about that master brewer.
Curly White is our head brewer and brewmaster, has been for the last 4 years. And he was the head brewer at McMinimans at St. Francis and Bend for 10 years prior to joining us as our brewery manager. So we have our brew team has grown over the years, and Matt Katakura is a lead brewer in our production facility in Redmond, and Jonathan Cano is our lead brewer at our Prineville location, where we have a 5-barrel small batch system over there. So we're able to brew a lot more beers now that Prineville's up and running, and a lot of smaller batch. So at both locations, you'll see different beers, different choices, and that's been fun for us. So we'll continue that the best we can.
Yeah, so not only are they doing Oktoberfest back to back, in April we're doing Kiefer's Magical Birthday Bash back to back in Prineville and Redmond this year. So it would be awesome.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think last year there were over 450 people at the site.
Yeah, last year was crazy good. To see as many people come out to support Kiefer and the cause and Rimrock Trails and whatnot. To the idea of growing that, I'm super excited for it. So.
And you guys might remember Kiefer worked for Brian. Kiefer Lutschack worked for Brian, and then lost his life to mental illness in last October. So it was really to the heart for both of our organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that'll be fun to get together and start planning once again. Yeah.
That was great beer. Well, 2 things. One, on the silent auction, there is a VIP brew tour of Wild Ride that you can bid on, and so you get a personal tour. The other question I had though is, do you go to contests? Awards and how does that work?
Yeah, there's a lot of them, but there's a select handful that are prominent that we pay attention to, and a lot of it's you submit beer in advance. We're in what's called fresh hop season right now, and in fact, Curly's back at the brewery day submitting to 2 different competitions. Our we did 4 fresh hop beers this year, so if you come into Redmond and you pop outside into the brewery where you go to the bathrooms. If you look to your right, we have kind of our brewery award and medal wall. Our Whoopty Whoop Wheat, which is lemon Hefeweizen, won a gold medal at GABF. That's probably our most prominent medal. That was 2020. But yeah, we've been stoked to have an awesome team, very passionate about brewing over the years, even though names and faces change a little bit, and to get national recognition for beers we make is something we're proud of. It's not why we do it, but to be able to have have that recognition, and it builds credibility, and I think in the craft beer community and whatnot. So yeah, it's part of what we do.
So Brian, where are you doing your canning?
We do it in-house.
In-house?
Yeah. When we started, there were mobile, and there still are, mobile bottling and canning companies in the area, which was nice as a startup. Is you didn't have to say, hey, here's $150,000 for bottling line. It's not only a financial issue, but it also kind of pigeonholes you into a certain package format and whatnot. So our industry has changed so much just in the 8 years we've been open. Cans are obviously a big deal, bottles less so. It used to be the opposite. So we own our own bottling line, our own canning line. We started in both formats through the mobile options. So yeah, we do that in-house. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's your best-selling beer?
Good question. Distribution-wise, it's our Nut Crusher Peanut Butter Porter. Part of that, it's because it's such a unique style. Not a lot of breweries make peanut butter beers. We also package it in different formats, so 22-ounce bottles, 12-ounce bottles, 16-ounce cans. So it's out there in the world quite a bit more. And when we first brewed it, the design was kind of a one and done. Yeah, Brian will make a peanut butter beer for you. The team at the time killed it, did amazing. We took it to a festival in Eugene called KLCC, and it won the People's Choice Award and the Sponsor's Choice Award, which the sponsor was Dairy Mart. Dairy Mart's, we bring in all the bottles to all of our stores. So it's like, hey, we got to get Nut Crusher back in tank, and it's never left. Costco picked it up that summer, and yeah, so it's probably been our best seller. In the tap rooms, it's a little different. It's an IPA world still. Electrofly IPA, Hippie Haze IPA, Juicy Gorilla Snacks, Kefir Magic when it was part of it, or Big Booty Golden Ale. It was light, easy drinking. Phil's Pills, Cole's Lager. I mean, I can run down the whole list.
Brian,
It changes though.
who does your marketing, or how do you come up with these fun names for the beers?
Yeah, kind of a committee approach. Come up with some. We do it internally. The brewers are doing a lot of it right now because we have so many new beers coming through the Prineville brewery, and I think that there's an element of maybe a couple of us have final say to make sure, hey, yeah, this represents us fine and all that. But we've got into the industry because it's craft beer and it's fun. That was our experience. Not only drinking it, but the environment, the atmosphere, the people, and we didn't want to lose sight of the aspect of fun. So it's like, hey, we're going to try to make our marketing, our packaging fun. We're going to try to have a good time when it comes to coming up with beer names and all that stuff. And we take our business very, very seriously, but to not lose sight of the fun aspect of what we do. So, yeah.
Let's kind of take off on Michelle's question, but of all the things you do, what do you like best?
What do I personally like best?
What do you personally love?
Yeah, I don't know. I do a lot because I'm general manager, and so I'm involved in a lot, I should say. And one of the things I say, like, my parents were business owners here growing up, and I was always exposed to business. I studied business and economics in school, but I never knew what I wanted to do, and left college not knowing what I wanted to do other than be in some form of business. So I got exposed to some different industries. Some I enjoyed, some I didn't, and I definitely didn't think that beer would be the end all of it. But when you can go to work and you can spend 10, 12 hours a day, most every day, and it doesn't feel like work, then you're doing something right. So there's not much about my job that, you know, I don't enjoy. There's some stressful stuff. There's some stuff that, you know, I could use some help with over time. But, you know, no, I love it. It's a fun industry that's really brought together by people passionate about what we do, craft beer and whatnot. So, yeah.
Just as a observation, as a community member, the idea that hometown boy, interested in the community, great business model, but by the same token, never lost sight of who you were, and you know, it's come out.
Yeah.
To our group, Kiwanis and others, and I think that's the key from my standpoint to your success. I don't know if that's the part that's the most rewarding, but I would think it would be part of it at least.
Yeah, it's the easy part for me. I mean, like I said, it's something I'm fortunate to do, and it's come together really well, and we've been lucky in a lot of cases and fortunate in a lot of cases, and along the way, and especially now, we can't do what we do without an awesome team. I mean, that's what makes it happen. So it's probably what I'm most proud about is the team we've built, and again, you know, names and faces will change, and that's part of the world we live in now, and that's part of different generations and whatnot, and that's okay. But yeah, we just absolutely could not do what we do without the team. So that's something that means a ton. All sorts of questions.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell us about the formation of the organization.
Wild Ride? Yeah. From a standpoint of, I mean, there's 5 business owners. 2 of us are involved in the operation. Our production manager and myself. He owns a third, I own a third, and then we have 3 other silent partners that make up the other third. I was, call me the founder, if you will. I mean, the idea started with us, and I've been involved since, you know, we opened in May of 2014. We started the planning in late 2011, business plan. Who would be interested in getting involved? It was a 2.5-year process. It was truly a wild ride. There were times I didn't know if it was going to come together. There were times I didn't think it was going to come together, and it did. And remember the night before we opened in May of that year, finishing up the chalkboard in our tap room, sitting there wondering, is anybody going to show up? And, you know, yeah, it's been a wild ride. But yeah, we have, like I said, we have a great group, very supportive. We've invested in ourselves the entire time. We, as owners, haven't, you know, taken a penny out of the company. We're reinvesting in ourselves and for the future, and for doing things that are good for the community, and to be not left alone. I mean, really good friendships and relationships with our group, but to be allowed to operate things how we need to operate things is really nice. I've been in some other situations that involve ownership that aren't so easy. So when you have it, you feel fortunate. Yeah.
So how many other craft breweries are there in Redmond? And where were you numerically? Were you second? And do you have a relationship with the others?
Yeah, we have really good relationships within the industry. I'm not sure I could give you a number. I could probably work down the list. We weren't first. Cascade Lakes Brewing has been here a long time. They brew in Redmond, kind of out by the airport. A lot of people over time think Cascade Lakes as a Bend brewery, maybe not you guys because you're here, but probably because of the lodge out on the way to Bachelor. But 7th Street has been here for a long time. about the time we came in, there was a small brewery called Fat Matt's that quickly went out of business. So I don't know, maybe in the pecking order we're second as far as numbers, but Cobalt Brewing, Porter Brewing, Initiative Brewing. You guys know, am I forgetting anybody? Silver Moon now brews here. In fact, we're going there today to pick up a keg for Saturday. Getting beer donations, cider donations.
Brew here yet?
What's that?
I thought Boneyard was opening annex here at some point in brewing.
Not that I know of, but I think there will be more to come. I mean, Redmond's obviously growing, and we're fully in the camp of the more the merrier. I mean, just in the last couple of years, they're not breweries, but General Duffy's, Otto's Landing now, they're great establishments that support craft beer in our industry, and we think that the more, places to go, the more reasons to stay in Redmond or come to Redmond is great for us all. And if you take care of what you're in control of, your own place and whatnot, and do it to the highest standards and best expectations, then the rest will kind of take care of itself. Yeah. Go for it.
Do you need any special treatment for your water?
Not really. Not really is a simple answer. That's probably where Curly talking about it or Scott talking about it would make sense. We have a pretty established filtration system in the brewery, but we're also fortunate to have really good water in Redmond.
You don't have to pull out all that nasty chlorine that we have in the city.
It goes through the filtration system, and then we also put in a pre-treatment system for our wastewater on the back end afterwards. It's been with Prineville opening and brewing there, water's even different then. So, we want to make beers that we can make in Prineville, and if they're really popular and we move them to the production system, that we can replicate it. Water is a huge part of our industry and the product, and the treatment of it both before and after matters. So,
is the water in Prineville harder?
Yeah.
It's just more minerals?
Yeah. Yeah, we put out some misters and
it destroys.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Wild Catch food truck, the Fish and Chips food truck, that they have a location here in Redmond, but also in Prineville, and they have misters on their black food truck. Now they're black and white food truck. They're out there today cleaning it. So
you might have to think about some more English ales. They always talk about how their hard water is their specialty. For
Yeah, exactly.
It tastes like.
Yeah.
I know we're running short here.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
In a nutshell, you mentioned awards, national awards and things like that, so I'm a little naive. What's the process that takes place that you end up with an award and national recognition?
Yeah, so there's a long list of different styles of beer in the hundreds, and different competitions will have their specific style guidelines for beer submissions. So it's a fairly complex process. Where does your ABVs fall, your IBUs fall, your the colors of your beer and SRM ratings, and there's a lot to it. Our Electrofly IPA, for example, has won a medal in the international style pale ale competition because it fit those guidelines for that competition a little bit better than like your traditional IPA. So there are things like that, but you're usually signing up pretty well in advance. You're shipping beer out to those companies. The people that do them bring together judges. So our brew team, for example, on this Friday, is going out to, you mentioned Sisters Fresh Hop. There's Fresh Hop judging that's taking place kind of along the festival. So we've got a couple brewers going out you're going through and you're tasting beer and you're writing notes and you're judging it and you're doing it up against similar beers from similar breweries, all up for the same category. So, you're up against, depends on the style, but 200, 300, 400 breweries across the country. So you ever submit beers and you don't win any awards? You tell yourself we've finished in 4th place quite a bit, but otherwise, first, second, and third go up on the wall. But that, I mean, there's so many good breweries here. Central Oregon, we're spoiled, but across the Pacific Northwest, across the country, craft beer has just become huge, and so many good breweries in so many different regions. It's interesting to see different competitions, what beers, what styles, who's winning awards and whatnot. And yeah, anytime we're fortunate to win one and know what you're up against, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
So do they solicit the people who put them together? Do they ever come to you and say, we'd like you to submit?
Yes, I mean, yeah, but they're more relationships. I mean, yeah, I mean, the big ones, Great American Beer Festival, U.S. Open Beer Championship, North American Beer Awards, Best of Craft Beer Awards, which is actually out of Bend. I'd say those are probably World Beer Cup, which is every 2 years. Those are probably the top 5 and we're active in those. And you have relationships with them over time, and like I said, our brewers will get out and judge in some cases and whatnot. So I told you I was going to talk too much.
No, you're good.
Look at all these people leaving. No. Brian, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Wait.
One of our very cool Kiwanis pens.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
And